To the future beyond glow. Through the fire we will grow. Every move a deadly flow. Next gen rising, let it show. Eyes ahead, the rhythm calls. Stand up tall, we break the walls. Train it up, train it high. Next gen reaching for the sky. Push the limit, don't ask why. This is how we're born to fly.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Next Gen Training here on the Sparta HQ Network. I'm Mr. Bennett, joined by my partner, as always, the coach in the building tonight. Good to have you guys with us. Certainly, make sure when you come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button. Certainly, it helps the algorithm. Certainly, when you come in, so definitely show us some love. Also, consider subscribing. Certainly to the network. We'd appreciate certainly your support. We're growing our numbers. We're near monetization. And so certainly looking forward to being able to continue to pump out meaningful content, certainly to you guys. So certainly we look forward to that. And certainly for those in the chat tonight, certainly all we ask is that you keep it respectful. We welcome your input. We welcome your feedback. So again, just no personal attacks, insults, or threats. Avoid offensive language, including slurs based on race, gender, religion, or sexual orientation. Be courteous and polite to other viewers. So again, stick around for the conversation. I think we'll have certainly another meaningful one tonight. But Coach, how you doing tonight, sir? How you doing in your pies? PIES. Certainly for those of you in the chat tonight, how are you doing with yours? Physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual health. How are you doing in those areas?
What's up, brother Ben? Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, sir. What's going on?
Oh man, shit. Yeah, man. Pies, man. Whew. Physically, I went to the doctor today. I gained 4 pounds. I'm like, I need to get to moving. But
you said you gained 4 pounds?
I gained 4 pounds.
So what? Since last year? Since when?
Since about 7 months ago.
Okay.
7 months. I'm like, and I equate some of it to winter time. I give it that, but my body's different. It's changing.
Yeah.
Having right now, I got my joints up in my arm. It's been bothering me for the last 3 or 4 days, and it's not even my driving arm. I'm left-handed.
I didn't know that. You lefty, huh? Okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Talking to my doctor. She's pretty good at making sure I get all my consultations in order and stuff like that. So I'm not worried about that, you know. But also my wife, she's a few years younger, so
Yeah.
it's something we both starting to focus on more now. Yeah, intellectually, man, I think about just life and saying where I want to put myself and things like that. So just always going over that. I want my wife to retire. She said she's gonna sit down at 55. So her birthday's in August. I'm like, cool. Give me a chance to finish all my projects over the summer I need to do. So I'm just thinking about that, like just taking on, man. I feel like I need to just go in the mountains for a year or two and just
Yeah.
decompress from whatever the United States is dealing with,
hmm
and getting caught up in those whole debauchery type of behaviors going around.
Yeah.
Emotionally, I'm always pretty upbeat, even, my voice, right now is just at a calm space. I don't get excited too much.
hmm
I don't let things bother me. I never allowed other people's issues bother me. I could always separate from that. At a young age, it's something I was always been able to do. I never, just because somebody thinks different, act different, I may comment on it, but it's not going to affect how I move
Mhm.
going forward or, at that point. But yeah, spiritually, I just try to always make sure I pray at some point during the day. It don't have to be no special occasion, and just hope that, and pray that, I'm able to continue to live the life that I've been able to live. I wouldn't change nothing for the world. The
Mhm.
people that I've met, the places I've gone, things I've done. But yeah, man, I'm just hoping I at least get another 20 out of it. I need another 20. I need another 20, man. My father went to 80. My grandfather went to 94. If I can get anywhere in between there, especially now being retired and
Mhm.
not having to get out and fight the world as much, I'm just gonna pick my feet up and
Right.
just do what I
But
want when
is
I
it
want.
is it more age
So
with you or more experiences that
a
you're
little bit
interested
of
in?
both.
Okay.
It's a little bit of both because I had a lot of experiences young. I had a lot of experiences through college,
Right, but I'm saying
Joey.
experiences such as, like, for example, I know you have one son, right?
Yes.
So, are you a grandfather?
No.
So that's what I'm talking about. Like, looking forward to being a grandfather and having your grandson over, or seeing your son get married, or some vacation
Getting
spot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm kind of almost in that space now where it's like I want to. It's not so much money per se, but
Yeah,
I want to experience certain things. I want to be able to see and visualize certain things that I have not been able to do as of yet. So I'm just saying, for you, is it so much about time? And obviously you need some time, but is it more about milestones that you're looking at more so than just being here for another 20 years?
I mean, as far as myself and my wife, man, like I said, it's a little bit of both because I just receive what I'm allowed to do when I'm faced with it. I wouldn't be I wouldn't feel any kind of way. I'd be upset if I didn't have a, what I'm saying, opportunity to hang out with some grandkids or whatever. I work
Mhm.
with young people all my life. I've held so many babies and taught so many little kids how to throw a football and get in a 3-point stance and shoot a jump shot and, run and, read. I taught them, I've had those experiences. And so I embrace that outside of family. My wife, her bucket list, she want to go to a Super Bowl. Okay. You heard me talking about the Olympics. I'm gonna keep on
Yep.
thinking about it and see how it works out. I know we're gonna make a decision before the end of this year. We got one more round to go through, and
Mhm.
we're just gonna be very strategic on what events. Because we was planning on going to several events. We had our little 4 list
Yeah.
already planned, but then we was like, hold up, there's gonna be 20 right there by itself.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just
It's
us two, and like
exactly. Yeah.
like you showed last night with the NBA, you're
Yeah.
like, hold up,
Nosebleed seats.
man.
Yeah. The Knicks, it's like nosebleed seats is 3,500. You know what I mean? So
I
it's
can
just
understand
amazing.
the Knicks. That that would be about normal for the state of New York, but I think the NBA and all major sports are sort of going that way anyway, as far as pricing. So I think when that time comes, but yeah, man, it's travel. I've done travel a lot. It's just more about, man, I've always said this, and I'll be quiet. I enjoy moments when I'm in them. I've been to some of the countryest places in Mississippi and some of the biggest cities in the world, and I treat them both the same. My greatest experiences came from those little country, little mom and pops. I've always embraced that, like, man, because the welcoming is so large. And then I've been in places where people look at you like, you beneath me, you know. But I never had a bad experience with the people. Right. I never had people, you know what I'm saying? So I just embraced the moment, you know, and, you know, just I like going to the mountains now. I'm in that phase we can get away, and, you know, I don't even take number 2 outfits because when I go up to that little mountain spot, I'm outside. And yeah, so I think the physically, that's my biggest issue right now, the physical part of my body. Because in my mind, I'm young, I can do things, I can still build, I can see good enough to where I can measure correctly, but in my body's saying, okay, you getting older. And I don't want to be to a point where I'm totally dependent on somebody else. If I can do things for myself for the rest of my life, I'm cool with that. Because I'm gonna go where I want. I'm gonna be you next. When you listen, I tell my wife and this, if something was to happen to her, and I still have all my faculties together, you're gonna see me pull up in my van, Brother Bennett. Where you at? I'm gonna be vanning it outside your crib, like, man, I came to see you. I'm passing through. I ain't gonna settle down and go into you might hear about me on I-82. Man, he went out doing exactly what he wanted to do. Because as far as being taken care of, I don't worry about that. The military gonna take care of me till I go. They're gonna give me a flag, they're gonna blow the horns. I ain't gotta worry about that. Right. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna make sure I'm doing what I want to do. So I'm just in that space right now.
Heard that. Well, I must say, certainly since the last time we were on, it's been a very interesting few days. In that, you know, certainly physically, I'm in pretty good shape. That study that I was in, it just ended yesterday, so I'll be following up with the doctors next week, and they'll break down the numbers and the analysis and everything. But I think I was able to, just based on the daily monitoring, which certainly it was useful. It was very instructional in terms of how my body works. And just having a better understanding, the Fitbit watch. Like I got to give this back tomorrow. They don't let me keep it, but I'm shopping for one now. So I've been doing research on it because I think I like wearing a fitness tracker. I like having my sleep analyzed and all that kind of stuff. So I think I'm gonna stick with that going forward. So I was just looking at some different smartwatches and looking for the right ones, and I think I've narrowed it down to a couple. That my family hooked me up for. I don't know if I want to wait till Father's Day. I kind of put it out there, but I may want it faster than that, because it's like once you start getting used to this thing, you don't want to go. I don't want to go a whole nother month without having something. So I may just skip the line and just get one. But physically, it's pretty good. But I gotta tell you, intellectually is always good. But on the emotional and spiritual side, it's been a little bit of time. A bit of testing, not so much with me or even my wife, but it's just with the kids. It's with the daughters and that dynamic, and it was a challenging week in terms of my youngest just turned 23, and she went, how these kids do it now. They got to party it up and do some things. And
so can I ask you a question real quick? Are they in a transitional stage of life, like trying to career, party, relationship, friends? Are they in that area?
Well, yeah, somewhat. I mean, certainly my oldest, I certainly went through one, but I think she's stabilized. My middle one is stabilizing. It's the youngest one, who I think is really battling that right now.
Okay.
And but it's creating angst, certainly in the house. And so I said it was just a trying weekend, and interesting too, because my grandnephew, he just graduated high school, and he's got a full ride scholarship to Morehouse. He'd be playing basketball on Morehouse basketball team, full
That's
ride.
good right there, man.
And so we went down Tuesday to kind of celebrate that and everything, and also to collect, because my daughters, they were down in that DC area as well. And so, getting everybody together, and it's kind of like I said, this transitional phasing. In fact, I may even get into what we're talking about tonight. It's testing everything that I have in terms of wisdom, in terms of my wife and I just try to say what the best thing to do is. When you have someone who you're deciding, can she even stay? Does she need? Because I think all of them, to the point now, they need their breathing room. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact my daughter's at medical school, she's away half the year, so it's not as big a deal, and that's really helped her to grow up. And it's interesting. She said some things last night that it was like, oh, I guess we did do pretty good, because she dropped some bombs talking to my youngest one about stuff that we didn't have to say much. She just kind of, we said nothing, but my youngest one is still going through some changes and phases and things. And it was interesting because we at the event, everybody's giving testimonies and things of that nature and whatnot, Thanksgiving. And then my nephew, my grandnephew's father, he wanted me to pray. We're a Christ following family, so he wanted me to pray, and I forgot most of what I said, but I basically emptied myself. I mean, it was like the Holy Spirit came, and I just, whatever I was saying, people were just moved, and I was just in it because I'm certainly happy for him, but there were a lot of young persons there.
Yeah, he was trying to get them that inspiration.
And in the prayer, I was like really, like I'm seeing some things, like the way I look at things now, how you got these young people who are so they're frightening in terms of their potential, but it's a time when they can easily, that potential could get snuffed out by certain actions or behaviors or whatever that can take them out. And for me, I don't know how you did this with your son, but that's always been a thing with me, as far as these ages when you have so many things in front of you, so many temptations a lot of times, that at this level that they're balling at, it doesn't take much to take you off of that.
How old is your baby? How old is your baby?
20. She just turned 23.
My son turned 23 in January, so they right there together.
So it's but it's a scary age. And then these other girls were kind of interacting as well down there, so I was kind of seeing some of the things that were going on, and it's a scary period of time, and so I worry a lot about that. So again, when I went into that, just spiritually, I'm in a different place. Think about not only me personally, but just the outlook of kids or young adults and the world that they're in and the things that are looking to derail them. So people came up to me later on. It's like, I forgot, like as soon as it was over, I almost forgot what I said, but the people coming up to me saying like, man, you just like I said, I just emptied, whatever was in my heart, my spirit, I just emptied it out. And I don't think I've ever done that before. But people knew it was whatever was on my mind. It was heavy, and my wife, she just came up, she just embraced me, because again, we're kind of living this together. So she just embraced me at that time, and that's why you're thankful you have certainly a wife that can just love on you like that afterwards. Because I was like, I was an empty shell, and she just came, she just hugged me and just leaned on me some. So that's kind of where we're at right now. And we'll see how this works out in the next few weeks and months, and if we can, kind of keep the peace here and things of that nature. But it's kids, they need to grow up, and sometimes they need to fall down as well. And that's one thing I've learned early on, that Certainly there's only so much. In fact, my nephew said this about his son, because his son has had these mentors in his life. I mean, like outside the family. And these, like, when he was a teenager or when he was younger, taking them out, spending, manly time, but they're old enough to be responsible, but still young enough to relate. Because he was saying, like, even him and his wife, you can only say so much. And sometimes you need like another voice outside of you to be saying, they could be saying the same thing that you're saying, but it just hits different when it comes from somebody else. And so, he's been able to have those things as well. So like with me and my wife, we're always talking about, okay, well, what's the next move, or what could we say or do or whatever. And sometimes it's like, you got to let them fall, but hopefully they don't fall so much that they can't get up from the fall. But sometimes they need the wake up call that only comes through learned experience and circumstance. Wisdom is the best thing. Like the whole purpose of the show, for those who are tuning in, we're just two ball guys giving our opinions on life based on what we've lived and what we've done. We're not psychologists or psychiatrists, even though you got a lot of people online claiming to be doctors and psychotherapists and things like that. We're none of that. We're just two guys who've gone through some things, and we just try to share and impart that. So again, anything that we talk about tonight, take it for what it's worth. If you need professional help and counseling and things of that nature, by all means, pursue those things. But we're just kind of like two guys. We're just sharing, what's found that's worked for us, and what we've certainly implemented in lives, and certainly in working. Coach has certainly spent a lot more time than me working with kids and young people, so he's seen it all, and kind of knows what works and what doesn't. So we come to this from that perspective, not as experts, but it's just as guys just sharing. And so hopefully what we hope that you guys get from this is maybe some wisdom that can help you in the future, rather than you have to make your own mistakes. And certainly that is our prayer for everybody. But at the same time, we realize that sometimes you're going to have to go out there and break some eggs, and and hopefully you get something out of it that you can recover from, that you don't do something that is that's unrecoverable, and that's sometimes a risk too, especially when people are kids out of the country, kids out of the state, and there's just only so much range you can have in terms of being able to influence some things. So that's kind of what's going on with me personally. But like I said, hopefully it may tie into tonight's lesson. And but again, as always, we like to share that certainly if anybody wants to certainly reach out to us in terms of the questions that you may have, you can certainly go to Ask the Next Gen Training 101, NXT GEN Training 101 at gmail.com. If you have any questions, certainly you can submit those questions to us, and we'll try to answer them and give you give those questions some sincere thought in an upcoming show. So this is so our site, but before we even get into tonight's topic, so obviously we've been dealing with the issue of anger management, which again I'm starting to see very well how that kind of manifests itself in terms of when you're working with especially younger people, but I'm even seeing with some older people, this is becoming a thing. So we've gone over 2 sections so far tonight. Part 3 is certainly anger management. Part 3, behavior change plan. But I was thinking as I was doing this tonight, and hopefully we won't be before you too long tonight. But Coach, I wanted to ask you personally. I want to kind of pick your brain a little bit. Maybe this might be even more important than what we cover, at least the top, the slide deck. But everything we've been doing so far, none of this is going to work unless you have a heart and mind that you want to make some changes. We've heard the analogies, leading a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, or what have you. And that, when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive, and, just all these things that we put in front of people. But if you're not ready really to let go of some things, or realize, or if you haven't hit, some people call it rock bottom. But sometimes I think that unless you get the bejeebies scared out of you, that a lot of these things, what we're saying, will just kind of go over your head. And so, Coach, I want to ask you, certainly based on your experience working with young people, with kids, and whatnot, or even in your personal life, what advice would you give for someone who's like, okay, yeah, they may even have recognition that they may have a problem or an issue or something they got to deal with, but they're not necessarily ready to implement the plans or the change plans that that they need to do, that they know they need to do? Or is there anything you recommend that how a person can get there to say, okay, now I'm ready? What have you seen just working with people over the years and whatnot, for those who can get to that place where this can be absorbed?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's one particular way. You have to meet each individual where they are, especially because but you have to get to the root of why they are acting out.
Mm-hmm.
When you're dealing with younger people, most of them act out because there's something behind the scenes that you don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I always approached it. I needed to know, okay, your acting out is a reaction to something.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go to those, one, just have conversations. I don't know if it was ordained for me to do it, but when I would go talk to the adults that are involved with the student, I would ask those hard questions, especially with parents, mother, father, grandmother, whatever. I would ask those hard questions, and then I would find something that they do well. They've been told that they got an anger problem 52 times. Well, what I need to keep telling them for?
Mm-hmm.
I never told them you got an anger problem.
Mm-hmm.
I say, you angry? Now, tell me what you're angry at? And they're like, well, but see, a lot of times they blame it on the teacher or somebody. But okay, yeah, the teachers tell you got to do schoolwork. You're in school. You got to do your work. You can't be crying about what happened. Talk to me. Something happened before you got to school.
Yeah.
Because you falling asleep every day. You cussing every day. Your grades are showing. What's going on? And a lot of times I'd say within high school age, it has something to do with an adult. Mother, father, mama's boyfriend, daddy's girlfriend, grandma. It has something to do with an adult. They lost their favorite cousin. You know what I'm saying? One of their parents is, out on the streets and they see them outside. A lot of kids see their mother outside, but they wouldn't speak against their mother because that's not what society says. Speak the truth about whoever. And that's the thing. But they'll carry it around. And instead of saying, this is why I'm mad at the world. And that's the approach I wanted to get to the root first. And then once we were able to talk about it, now we're setting up the plan as we go based off everything that they laid out.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can't control what other people do.
Right.
But they can control how other people respond to them. Because every day of life we have rules. And you have to be able to live it within those rules. Because once you start breaking the rules because you're angry, and then I used to throw jokes in there. I'm not above reproach to throw a little silly funny with a kid because they already tensed up. They already looking at you. I'd be like, hey, if you bust out a window, then they're gonna lock me up. If I go around trying to think I can just steal every day, I'm gonna get locked up. So the things that you can control, let's work on that. Let's work on what you can control. Right now, you got a 1.8. I see you got to listen. And I used to be straight. F says failure. A D says dummy. But a C says champion. It says character. It says courage. And this is what we got to get you to. I need you to be a C. And I would always use those moments to sort of dive into what they can control and what things that they can do creative to sort of alleviate that frustration. You know, they say when you're mad, punch a boxing bag, you know, work out, things like that. But when they're young, hey, I started telling students, listen, every time you get mad, I want you to write about why you mad. I want you to write angry and tell me how you write angry. Your story will tell it. So, but with adults, you know, they have the same issues that some young people have. It's family. It's decisions. It's the baby mama. It's the baby daddy. You know, I should have got my high school diploma. I should have. All these I should haves, right? And they've already been punished for what happened. I'm not going to focus on, I'll see you kept doing this. You got no. Is that going to control the rest of your life? Are you going to tell me you're going to spend the next 20 years of your life talking about some stuff that was 20 years ago? So here we are. What are you good at? What do you want to be good at? Now you got to be willing to sacrifice at least 3 to 5 years. You have to be willing. I'm not saying it's going to all go from a 0 to 10, but every little, just like in credit scores and your percentage rates, every little point going up is a positive. It's the difference between interest rate of 4.9 and 5.0. It's a big difference. So if you can just take one step at a time, and then when you believe or you feel, because a lot of kids, I try to get them to think outside of feelings. When you see that you're struggling, you can come talk to me. Come on, talk to me. But you know that I'm only going to try to see how we can be in a better space. And I learned a lot of people that work with people don't try to fix the problem. They don't. And that is the problem.
So what do you find them doing more times than not, if not
catering to the what somebody else they shouldn't have. It shouldn't have. Well, you have a right. Yeah, you got a right to feel that way today. But there's another 365 days in the year. You address it today. You get that monkey off your back. We used to call it getting that shadow, because your shadow trips you up. Face that demon or face that issue head on. And you might have to go in the ring 5 or 6 times. I can't say, I mean, you shouldn't be drinking. You like to drink? I can't used to tell kids, listen, y'all love to smoke weed. You smoke it. The problem is y'all smoke too much of it.
Yeah.
You're smoking it every day. Try to cut back to 3 to 5. Look, go from 7 days to 5 days. Every weekend. And the crazy part, you know, young people, they don't always agree that they'll do it. See, that's where people get caught up at. I'm talking to them, they ain't gonna agree all the time. Like, they be like, man, I don't know, man. That weed, man, I'll be feeling good. I know you do. You rolled it up, you done bought it, and you done went searching for the man, had your little I used to just paint the whole story. And a lot of times what used to happen, they would go away with the information. Because I'm gonna give you the information whether you want to hear it or not. And when they in that space alone, when they ain't trying to be hip or cool, and they gotta face that ugly in that shadow, they'll do it. And then they'll come back, you see, you know what you said last week. And I play dumb, Brother Benny, because I like to see if they know what we talked about. I don't need no tell me, you was telling me to do that. I did it. Okay, what happened? You was right. It came out the way you said. Okay. So now you got a nugget. You do that, make that decision every time when you face with situations like that. And then you start seeing the confidence. I used to love seeing them come in there, even with felons. I'm going to get away from I'm talking about felons. Dudes that, man, once I can get them to a place to where they control how they respond and they can see it, and those, because people in professional world like to use those triggers.
Yeah.
Man, I used to tell them, you face your triggers head on. And a lot of that is getting away from people who are always pointing the finger at you or always got their hand out. You have to be willing to get away from them.
Mhm.
You can't be around them because every time you trying to shoot your dream to the sky, they trying to shoot it down.
Right.
And that was, so, and letting them see it for themselves. Like just the plan. Sometimes the plan is already within their hands. I used to let them write it out, put it in their phone, put it in your phone, make a note. Use your technology, make a note. And every time you feel yourself or you leave somebody doing, just go to your notes. So
I hear you. Yeah, I wanted to kind of cover some of that first and at least get your perspective because, like I was saying, if you don't, if like I said, if you're not ready for some of this, and again, and we understand that a lot of what we've been doing, certainly in this anger management series, this may not be now information. This could be later information. So definitely bookmark this, save it in your favorites, and when you're ready to at least try to implement some of this, then come to it later. You know what I mean? So again, but I just want to just to point that out that I think you need to be in a certain place to really start to absorb this information, as Coach was talking about, and it may not be certainly in the moment where you've been talking to them. It could be at a later time, like you said, when you're by yourselves. You can hopefully refer to this and pick it up and start playing with it. And you don't have to do everything in one shot. Just do a little now, put it down, get in your thoughts, because each one of these points that we're going to be going through are steps in terms of the plans. Each one of these requires some serious consideration. So we want you to be, look at these and take your time with these as we go along. So just to kind of review, so where we're at. So again, part one, again, gave us an opportunity to ask questions about who we are, what motivates us, how we feel about ourselves, and how others perceive us. And then last week we got into just a further assessment, different qualities and attributes about ourselves. Listing 3 things about yourself that you like, things you don't like, what are the things that tick you off. So again, we kind of got a little bit more. So the first 2 sessions, we actually went into, again, you understanding yourself better. Now in part 3, it's like knowing what we know about ourselves. Let's take some actionable steps to make the changes necessary to live a more peaceful life with oneself and with others. Because at the end of the day, especially when you talk about anger management, yes, certainly there's a lot of that behavior that's self-destructive, but a lot of it is also the quality of the relationships that you have can be certainly impacted by that. So we want to, certainly delve into how you can have a better relationship. So again, it's understanding yourself, understanding how you're relating to other people, and then what changes that you can make to, again, to have a more peaceful existence. So let's get into this. Again, it's going to be a series of questions. And again, take your time with each one. Coach and I, we may, have a comment on each one of these. If you want to share our own personal experiences with some of these questions, certainly, we're free to do that. But again, these are things to ask yourself as we go along here in terms of this. And this is for the person who wants things to be different. Yes, I know I got a problem, or I know I got some issues. Now, how do I go about resolving these? And like I said at the beginning of the show, just as a precursor, certainly if you need professional counseling services, by all means, get with someone who can give you that. Family counseling, family plan, whatever the title vocation, get with somebody who can be honest and open, that you can be honest and open with. And the more important thing is transparent with, because that's the thing too. It's like you can say, yeah, I go to therapy, but how much of the real are you really sharing with the people in the sessions? Because you talk about garbage in, garbage out. If you're only going to give them the rosy side of the story, only your perspective, and not tell them what's really going on, they can only advise on the information that they've been told. Now, if they're really good, they can kind of get to the heart of some things. But, certainly, and you may have to consider, especially if it's a relationship issue, you may need a family type of session where, you get all the parties involved in the session to see how can we move forward? What are the changes that we need to make in order to move on with things and live at peace with one another. So that's kind of what we're going to start to dive into with these questions. And again, each one of these certainly to be taken seriously. The first question is, again, what behaviors that you want to change? because we say acting out. Now, my thing is, I'm not looking for, um, I'm not looking for like a 180. You know what I'm saying? Like just like a totally different person. I think that's a lot to ask for. But I'm just thinking in the course of things that you can focus on, can you list like 3 things or 2 things or even 1 thing? What's one thing that you would want to change? An actionable item. So you know something. It could be your mouth. Maybe you're a bit too profane. You want to stop swearing so much or stop reacting to things. Try to take a couple items that you can kind of focus on to start with, and let's work on those. But I'm not asking. I don't think it's really realistic to ask someone change your whole personality or outlook on everything. You'll spend the rest of your life doing that. But just what are the things that are most of impacting the world around you in a negative way? These are the things that we want to focus on. So, Coach, your thoughts on these? And again, I want to thank Coach again because he gave me certainly the outline, certainly for this presentation. So I appreciate the info. I just try to put it in a more digestible form. But Coach, your thoughts on this here? How have you approached it with kids? How do you do that?
I mean, again, these, I guess, just outside of kids, right? Because I work with a lot of adults. I probably work with more adults than kids that were actually under my, I guess, my teachings or just counseling, mentor, life coaching. Kids are just being in an environment with students. You build relationships, they come to you. So, but a lot of this is group setting. We would just talk about the impulse behaviors. Most people want to change the impulse behavior,
Yeah.
things that you react to because you feel a certain way about it. And when you get specifics, what I'm saying, we can look at some tangible stuff as far as just outside of your behaviors. How are you showing up? Are you showing up everywhere you go late? When you get around people, are you cussing them? Are you getting into arguments every time? So, and again, this is not just one conversation. I like these. A lot of this works well with a group. When you got a group of like-minded people who are all in the same situations, I wouldn't say same situation, but within the same age group, similar experiences, then these are great conversations.
Or want the same outcome, or you want a different outcome.
Almost everybody wants a different outcome, and not everybody, but a lot of people do. And this is where the having conversations about integrity and accountability, they go hand in hand with topics like this. What do you want to change? So it's up to you to have the integrity. If I give you $5 today and you said you're gonna pay me back Friday, then your integrity would say, "Hey, Coach, here's your $5," or, "Hey, Coach, on Thursday or Friday early, I ain't gonna have the $5 today, Coach, but I'm gonna have it Wednesday." Okay, cool. Now I got a better outlook and understanding. You let me know, more respect, and then on Tuesday next week, you pay the $5. Maybe give 6 because again, your integrity said you was gonna give it on this day, but then you was thinking forward enough to say, "I know I'm not gonna have it," and instead of ducking and dodging them, you say, "Hey, I won't have it today, but I have it this day for sure." And you pay the debt off, and you give it back. You borrow somebody's skillet, just an example, a pair of shoes. Do what you got to do. Take care of it best as you can. And then when it's time to return it in its original order, or closest to it, and acknowledge it if you damaged it. So again, those conversations go hand in hand, and accountability. Hey, I'm tired of getting locked up. I'm tired. So what would they? And it's good to let them talk about what they need to behave or change. But then you're the what is it called? The moderator. You're the and I forget this word. It's gonna come to me, but you're the facilitator. That's the word I'm looking. You're the one to facilitate the good, the bad, and the ugly. The bad. Okay, if you keep doing this, this could happen to you. You take the power out of your hands. People could start locking you up, pushing you out, not letting you come stay over at their place, not letting you borrow money. People would start seeing it for what it is.
Yeah. Or stop associating with you altogether.
Yes, there you go. And good, because they'll realize, like, hey, this is a stand-up person. They keep their word. See, Black people, we love that loyalty word. But once that loyalty is broken, then they sort of go into this, no, I'm not, associating with you. But that keeping your word, especially if you promise to do something, if you borrow something, return it or notify them along the way. And so just having those conversations, it's a great conversation with, if you can get, Brother Big, you talk about all your little nephews and nieces, you seeing them right there. You seeing everybody in this transition as adults, trying to be adults and create their own independence. This is where that little 20s, they want to be independent. I ain't a baby no more. Yeah, I don't want to do this. I'm like, okay, cool. But that's why I say, and you have the mind for it, because you're going to give the information, whether right or wrong, and allow them to mind through it. So this is the opportunity for where some people who are willing to go into that, they can do a world of good to people who are in spaces like the head. It could be head space. It can be how they respond to situations, and just address give the solutions always, and that's why I say you write it down. You write those solutions down. Let them go in their little circle and write it down and display it. Everybody see all the options. You have all of these options to choose from, and being able to change your behavior. So just allow them to see it. And you may have a similar situation, but different. I may have a similar situation. You could possibly give me some advice because you went through it before.
Yeah.
And vice versa, because I went through what you went through 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is what I did, and you went through it. This is what you did. And it ain't 100 proof, but you might give me 50%. I'll take 50% over zero any day when it comes to real life. 50%, you always in the play. You ain't winning or you losing, you just stable. So 50% and above, I'm gonna always take it.
Yeah. I hear you. Next question. What will happen if I no longer do this behavior? So again, work this out. Because I think a lot of times information is given, but we don't give people, I think, a lot of time to talk about the outcomes. What is the outcome? How is this going to be a benefit to you? Like I say, I mean, the idea of, people give you money, you don't pay it back. Well, what happens if you do? Then the person's going to be more likely to want to lend you money or in the future. You establish trust with people. So again, it's like you're trying to get people to do the right thing, but a lot of times people don't see the value in doing the right thing. A lot of times. And we don't give them the space, like, really flush this out. Let's just say if we were able to implement a couple of these changes, what's going to be the benefit of you doing this? So again, take your time with these, and it could be 3 answers to one. So if you go back to the previous slide where you talk about up to 3 different things, take point 1, you may even expand that to 3 benefits where this change will be useful to you. It improving how you feel about yourself, and how others feel about you. Give yourself that time to really sort these things out. Is this plan workable? Because you try to take someone like a kid, say stop drinking or stop smoking weed. Yeah, it could be a benefit. They may not see the benefit, coach. If they on it, it's like but I no longer did is I get the jitters, I get upset if I don't have it. So again, those are things you got to work out in your mind to say, it's like, okay, is this change that I'm looking to implement? How would this benefit me? So look for things that benefit you more so than just change for change itself. But coach, your thoughts on this one?
I mean, no, you hit it right on the head. But with this is also another side to it, right? Like sometimes you have to let them see, like, because sometimes when people are emotional, they say things that sound good to them, but in reality, it's not good. Because I've had students say, I'm going to drop out of school. Then we had to go down this question. What do you think happened if you drop out of school and you start coming to school?
Yeah.
So and that's what I'm saying. I always try to give them both sides. I usually start with the bad, but then try to switch to the good because I want to identify the bad first. A lot of people, they just end with the bad, and now they got a whole bad scenario, and you wonder, well, like, well, dang. And I can see I always start with the bad because we got to get right to it. I need to gut punch you. I need to feed this information to you like a bird feeds this chick. They don't hand pick it. They stuff it right down their throat.
Right.
So in that position, to me, I'm willing to stuff it. I'm willing to put it. It's like, what I'm saying? I don't need you to think about it. I just need you to absorb it first. And then we can talk about it. I want you to get it because the information that I'm going to give you, it's not about my opinion. It's not about my feelings.
Right.
See, it's about what's going to garner the best outcome, whether it's you or me doing the action. It don't matter. So I will let them see, like, if you stop doing certain things, also, you take control out of your hands, and other people are going to make sure that you're in a vulnerable position. So we want to keep doing that. But also, what do you think will happen if you start doing your homework every day? What do you think will happen if you start paying your child support?
Mm-hmm.
What you got it on record that you ain't missed a payment, but it's $10 short. When you go to court, you think they're going to lock you up? And they go like, no, keep paying your $10 short. But because they're looking for the attempt to do it right. And that's what it is. A lot of people get caught up in it's so bad. No. Yes, here we are. We're meeting you where you are. Keep doing the right thing regardless. You got to keep, even when it's, and I say sometimes the best way to always do the right thing is alleviate other people who are only looking to do the bad thing. You have to cut them out. Yeah. Especially when you're trying to go to a better space.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that absolutely. That feeds into the next question. What can I do to start preparing for that change? And certainly what I've been seeing with a lot of people, again, I've had daughters going through it. One is still, I don't think she's started yet, but I've seen one who came out on the other side. You got to turn some things off. Or, like I said, eliminate some people. Because especially at their ages, there are a lot of enablers. Or there's nobody within the groups that are going to hold another person accountable. And so, certainly for my oldest one, in terms of the change that she made, I mean, certainly, getting out the country and things like that was, certainly good. But a lot of it was just releasing some people who who weren't giving her any benefit, but for the longest time she couldn't see it, and it didn't necessarily matter what mom and dad were saying. She kind of had to go through that herself. So I think a lot of times, it's getting rid of some things that are that put you in these situations. It could be substances. So your thoughts on this one in terms of, that preparation for change, or that idea of, those things that continue, that bring you down from change, or get you getting into old habits. It could be people, it could be activities of some kind that take you backwards. But this is for certainly the person who's looking at this. You have to ask yourself with that, who are those people? Or what are those things? Or what are those situations that cause a behavior that you want to change? You have to ask yourself that. But Coach, your thoughts on these here?
I mean, and this is something that I guess, can I say it? Once I was able to address the issues, the earlier I address the issues, this sort of take care of itself. Because addressing the issues is preparing for the change.
That's a good point.
And I used to have to, and again, man, I'm gonna tell you, man, you gotta just hear your story when you started about the family. That's a great team of people who want your wisdom. That's a YouTube panel with Brother Bennett going through these slides, and it got to be live. It can be in the back chat, the whole session, and then you could see what I'm talking about, because you're giving them the unbiased message outside of what you feel. It's information, and there's steps that outside of the person you must do. Just like the military has a standard that they're going to stick to regardless of how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
You can be over earling all your guts out. When you get through earling and you feel a little healthy, guess what? We're going to come right back over here tomorrow, Brother Bennett. You're going to do it again until you get the immune built up and you ain't early. One of the biggest things, the gas chamber, for example. They don't even talk to you a lot about life. But you go in there, you start seeing that smoke, you got to take that mask off, you got to say your name right, before you start gagging and the eyes burning, nose burning, throat burning. And you're only in there for like a minute and a half. And it's very little chemical. It's probably that big of a ball, maybe the size of a quarter, that's causing all that. And you ain't in no little small space. You're in a big old open room. So just that experience that much in that short period of time affects you. So the preparation is taking us a step for the information. Because if they're willing to listen to the information, that's a step. That's a preparation.
Yeah.
And then I used to always hear people like, listen, everything that we discuss, that's part of our playbook.
Yep.
You're the player. You're the star player in this right here. However you want to look at this movie, you're the movie star. You're in a game, you're the man. You're the number one athlete on the team. So now when we go over these plays in this huddle, you got to be strong enough. You don't have to be strong enough, but you have to be willing to go out and practice some of these plays. You may not always get the result in that moment, but you still practice the plays the way we practice. When you leave the huddle, you go play the game just like we practice. And when you come across these stumbling blocks, you bring it back to us. And we'll find out some of us ran into the same problem. But some of us worked it out.
Yeah.
Some of us didn't. Now, the ones that did, I can say, hey, brother, I worked it out this way. Maybe try this. Another brother, I worked it out this way. Maybe try. 2 or 3 brothers got 2 or 3 different strategies, but we had the same problem. Matter of fact, now when you go back out, I have 6 different ways I could possibly approach this problem. One of them is bound to work. And when you find the one that works, you no longer can say you didn't know. You no longer can say you wasn't taught. You no longer can make an excuse about why you don't do it. You move this way forward in life. You move this way. That's a play that you know is a guaranteed a touchdown, a 3-point shot, however you want, the home run. You stick with it, regardless of what other people feel about you, regardless of what they say about you. If you do this right thing going forward, it could leapfrog you in life when it comes to, it could be a job, it could be an opportunity, it can be anything. But you have to stick to that as you get through that life experience. You can't just throw it out of the wayside. You have to sort of put it in your tool belt and know that this is a guaranteed play. So it's just different metaphors. Again, we preparing for the start when we sit in this circle. We preparing. So
there you go. And then just again, the logical progression is the steps you already said. Just the preparation is in and of itself a step. But then again, you may want to start putting more concrete actions, limiting your time in certain activities or not, or having an accountability type of situation. You know what I mean? Like just certain things that you do that you can be accountable to. I think it's part of the steps that need to, to occur. Sometimes it's you want to change certain behaviors. Sometimes it may involve addressing the people, especially we're talking about anger management, that usually happens in people who you affect. Maybe addressing the people who you have upset. If you got a mouth that constantly says things you shouldn't be seeing, part of the process might be to address those people and apologize for the very things that you've been doing. And understand that, you're going to work on some things or whatnot. But again, let them know that you're taking accountability for your actions. So all this can be part of the process. And certainly, again, the facilitator certainly can help you with coming together with a game plan in terms of some things you can start doing. So it could be if it's academics that are an issue, setting up certain study time, study hall. I remember my freshman year in college, I was on probation list. Guidance counselor at the time, he stuck me down to study hall and said, "You're not coming out until you get some habits." So he was hard, but I had to develop some habits, because again, you think you're coming out of high school that you're smart, and then college is another level, and you had to realize that your study habits had to change. If you want a different outcome. And so he was like, "Look, I'm sticking you in a basement. You come here every day during these hours, and you don't leave until that time is fulfilled."
Right.
So again, these are the action steps that oftentimes you need to be able to do. So again, your thoughts. Have you helped young people in terms of this, like, formulating something that they can follow? And again, it doesn't have to be big things. Like I said, I'm not expecting a 180, but artists, can you put something together that is like, okay, I can do this? Your thoughts on that one, Coach?
Brother Bennett, that's why what I mentioned earlier about, some people that are in a position to service people in this capacity. A lot of therapists, what they tell you, count to 10. You know what I'm saying? Give you one little generic method that they were taught in school instead of looking at the unique situation,
right,
and applying it that way. Because in the steps, that's why I say sometimes when I used to always love writing stuff on the board, the whiteboard, just dry erase board. I used to always do that. If I could show a video, I would show a video. Stop the video, just like on YouTube. I used to stop the video every little minute or so. Let's talk about that. Give me a couple of blah, 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 what y'all see. Run it again, somebody, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't wait on, I wouldn't sit back and just let them give their jaded view answer all the time. I would intervene like, no, okay, that's a good one. However, this is also something you want to consider, because there's some things based off of opinion and experience, and there's some things that are written in the manual. So we're going to talk about what we believe and what we feel about it, but then we go into the manual script and we're going to read that out loud. So you have all of those options available. You can compare it to your own. If yours is better, work with that.
Yep.
If Mr. Bennett is better,
yep,
work with that. At least if you're not willing to work with it, put it in your tool belt. You might need it somewhere. You might not need it today, but believe me, you might come across it because he's already experienced it, what you went through. And yes, and this is something tangible that you would put on display once everybody give their steps, because 8 people giving a step, that's 8 different steps. You leave it up, you allow them to write it down, take a note, create it in a painting. You can say, hey, choose one of these and just create it. Write a poem about it. I used to do anything to get them to think more about whatever those topics are or whatever those strategies are, to always have a foreplay. Because, and I'll say this and I'll be quiet, we used to have a check-in where we checking in with the pies just to engage. But then last week, we talked about these strategies on how we can anybody name a few? You get your answers. And me, that wasn't good enough. The other dude next to you, he was the worst one that came in here. I'm going to ask him the most. Because one thing about people, they follow who would be considered outspoken, a leader. They sort of bow down to whatever it is they have to say. They'll let them know. You right there. What do you see? What do you think? What do you believe? And then allow them to give their opinion or what they believe and saw. And it just allows them to understand, like, you know what? I'm getting it. That's what I used to love, to see them get it. Because then you ain't got to talk about how to be better. You can go into, hey, I see you like to draw, paint. I see you can do stuff. Do it. So yeah, just having those things written down, being able to visualize it. I used to make little posters. I used to always get a definition. We had I used to use a word of the day. And I'm dictionary, but I'm like, pull out your phone, use your technology. I say this and I shut up. A lot of times I used to just do this all the time. Everybody pull out your phone. Boom, they pull out their phone. Now text your mama, your daddy, your granny, your cousin, the person that you stay with who's allowing you to be in their space. And just say these words: mama, daddy, grandmama, cousin, I love you. That's all you can say in the text. I love you. And you talking about some crazy responses, man? Come on, man. What you done did now? I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get on you when you get home. And that's all they said. Some would be like, I love you too, and give a little heart. You know what I'm saying? And it just made things different after that. They would come back and talk about, man, me and my mom, my granny, we had a good conversation. We doing this now. You know what I'm saying? We can talk. We gonna work. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, write those things down, man.
I hear you. Next one here. Now this, I think this is certainly a step up. What can other people do to help me change my behavior? Again, this to me, this is about accountability. And because a lot of times I see people with anger issues, they don't see the impact that their anger or their behavior is having on other people. They don't listen. It's almost like it's everyone else's problems, not mine. Or y'all too sensitive. You get some of that. You get some of that too. But again, having some accountability partners or people who can be honest enough. But the thing is, you got to be in a position to listen. Like I said, none of this stuff is going to work unless you're actually ready to receive it or ready to actually hear from people who you may be offending. Like how are you offending them? How are you making them feel when you act out or react the way that you're doing? Are you ready to receive that feedback? And I know with my daughters, so when they act up, I tell them, be very specific about the thing that annoys you. Don't just go because especially with people always saying, well, you always doing this, and it's not always. It's just that with the be very specific, time, date, if you can't even record it, what was said, what was the situation or whatnot, document it, and give a detailed accounting of the behavior that was there, rather than speaking in generalities. So you always saying stuff, you always doing this, you're always angry, you always no, get to specific cases. But then certainly I think also when sharing with a group, then I think more people can hold you accountable. But and I know, Coach, you said a lot of this information really works well in groups. How can the group dynamic help an individual in terms of managing these changes that they want to make?
Brother Bennett, the reason why that would be a great tactic, especially with young minds, right? Because they relate to each other the best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. And by default, this question, I used to have this conversation with parents and students together. When I met with a lot of parents and kids together. And a lot of times, parents, they so caught up in their own life, they don't recognize, that their child has emotions and feelings and need to be loved, and things like that, especially teenagers. I used to always say, get out of your head. You're in your head too much. Life, you're taking life too serious. And then when you sit down and talk to them, you can see, wow, a lot of their issues came within the family.
Yeah.
The people that should love them and encourage them the most. But then I used to have to break it down, right? Like if sometime, mom has her mind on the next thing. Dad has his mind on the next thing. Not, let me see if my baby need a hug. They thinking about, I got to make sure these lights on so my baby can take a bath and stay warm and I can cook them a meal, things like that.
Yeah.
And I used to have those conversations. And even at the parent, I used to say, hey, it's your obligation to make sure that they're safe. It's your obligation. They ain't going to agree with you every 100%. Did you agree with your mama? Did you agree with your daddy? Did you forget you was a kid? How old was you? And I used to be tough on them. Like, how old was you when you had your first baby? Mm-hmm. You was 17, right? Mm-hmm. She's 18. She ain't got no kids. So she is doing a little better, right?
Yeah.
He's 18. He ain't got no kids. You know what I'm saying? So you have to bring the reality into it and not point the finger. See, and I think, again, once they understand that the best people to do it is people that you build relationships with. You have that teacher, mentor, coach, parent, you build relationships. But just random people, it may be hard for young people to really understand.
Yeah. And
like you said earlier, you can say some things to your child, and I can say some things to my son that like, but then here you come around, you saying the same thing I just said. They, you know what I'm saying? You just repeated everything I just said. It ain't just me. Because sometimes I used to tell adults, sometimes take them to somebody else. Take the pressure off of you and go to someone else that you trust. Not somebody that you know per se. Go to someone else who has no vested interest in either one of y'all. Friends are biased. Family members are biased. But if you can go to someone outside of that, you want to get the best answer, not just based off what you feel. You want the best answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not that this is a unique question, and you really have to, let both sides see how they play a role in that.
Right. Gotcha. I've got a couple more here as we start to close down and start to land the plane tonight. How I know if I'm making progress.
Mm.
So I think certainly this is where, again, whoever you're working with, if this is a group, or again the individuals that who's working with you on that. I mean, it could be your family or whatever, but I think that's where I think family can come in to say if you see changes being made, or at least the attempts to try. I've always been one to try to always call that out. Hey, I know this is hard for you, whatever, but I appreciate what you're doing. I see the work that you're doing. Keep doing it. I think words of encouragement certainly help this person, in those situations. Now, again, they may not always get that or have that, but I think certainly that from my perspective, that's how I see it. I think certainly the ones that if you're all working within a group setting, and if you're generally making that effort, for those who are seeing that effort, don't be afraid to share that and call that out. But how would you approach this one?
Oh man, this is like I said, this is the baby steps. This is the baby steps. And I used to always acknowledge it, and just in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, you didn't show up for school. Remember, last semester you came to school 25 days. Today, this year you've been here 35.
Take the victories, you know what I mean?
But they don't see it. See, a lot of time when people in mess, they don't see those small victories.
Right.
They don't see
Very
it. And
true.
sometimes you, as a on the outside, you can identify. We spend a lot of time pointing out the negative in each other.
Yeah, we do.
A lot of time. I don't care. You go anywhere, social media today, it's the worst of something that somebody did or something. But I used to always let them know, man, any step. I used to love to sit people down and let them see their GPA. Man, I used to love it. Because when you're in school, a lot of kids don't even understand it. I used to catch those freshmen like, come here, man. You've been here since Christmas time. You started in August, man. You got a 1.13. I ain't know it was that low, but I'm telling you, here we looking at it. We looking at it together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show you how to break it down. I used to show them how to break it down, count the A's, 4, B, 3, C. I break it down. Add them all up, divide it by how many classes you got. And then they see it for themselves. So, man, listen, you got to get to a 2.0. 2.0, you can do anything you want to do at the next level. 1 point meaning you fail. You don't want to be a 1 point because you ain't got there in life yet.
Right.
So just letting them understand the small victory, like you said. If a kid tell me they can do something, I would put them on the spot at that moment. I want to see it. I want you to show it and be proud that you can do it. You don't run from a God-given talent. You display it. And it don't have to be something that they create. It can be with math. When kids say they were smart with math, man, Mr. Bennett, I don't know how to add, subtract, or nothing. They doing it all for me.
Yep.
They tell me they can write. Hey, you taking all the notes. Because I used to tell them, the little things that you learning to do now may come back to help you in life. It may come back to help you. You can't look for all the gold in one spot.
Right.
That's why I call treasure hunting. When you hunt, I mean, you got to go through whatever conditions that's already set forth. You got to go through whatever weather is already there to get to the goal. So the same thing. Enjoy your small victories. Whether it's going from 7 days a week to 5 days, that's progress.
There you go.
So,
all right. Last one here. What should I do if I start to go backwards? I think you addressed that earlier. Where you start to see a regression, You get on a good track, and again, life happens. Things, or, situations are not always ideal, and you start seeing the kids kind of slip back or whatever. How do you go about what should a person do once they start going backwards? How do you get them back on track?
Man, I used to love just doing a little small contract. We write three rules in this contract, 3 or 4 rules, things that you can do. You write it, sign it, put your little John Hancock and put a date on it. And I'm going to set it right here. I used to always set it in a pile. I used to have a stack of papers like that where kids signed their name, that they was going to do something better, even if they slipped. And every time man, here, let's sit down. Didn't you write this right here? Because you wrote it. And let's talk about it. And that's what a group helps, right? Because we set some homework to go do. You didn't do it. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah.
And help them mind that out, because it may not be a bad thing just because you didn't do it. But if you're still taking the control out of your own hands, then you have to continue to reach out. You have to, I ain't gonna say reach out, but you have to continue to engage in the process to be better. You can't just do it a couple of times and say, oh, you have to continue to, because we all have those triggers.
Right.
We all are addicted to a life sometime. I just can't get enough of it, Brother Bennett. I gotta do it. Okay. But again, the longer you go, the more you put your control in jeopardy.
Yeah.
So, and that's just always tapping in. Hey, and I used to be an open book to some man. I would always put their number in my phone. I'd be like, here, put your number in my phone. Tell you, and I would call parents right there. Hey, mom. Hey, dad. Hey, granny. How you doing? This is Mr. Ferguson. Listen, I got your daughter, your son, your grandson right here next to me. Say hi. Make them say hi. Hey, granny. Hey, mama. What's going on? And I say, no, he's not in trouble. He's not in trouble. They're not in trouble. I'm Mr. Ferguson. I'm calling you before they get to that point. So you don't have to get on them when they get home. That's why I called you, because we're going to come up with a plan. We're going to let them know we're working together. Where you been at all my life? I've been looking for you, somebody like you. This is what well, ma'am, I'm here now. Right. And I got my little nephew, my little niece right here. Do I have permission from you, and this is why I used to be stupid, to knock them upside the head if they get out of control? Oh yeah, you can do whatever you need to do. Oh, hold on, because you said one more time, because your baby, I don't think your baby here. Well, man, you can knock them upside the head. You can do whatever. Okay, thank you. So I just want your baby to understand that we're gonna work together.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when they realized that I was gonna be engaged in who they were, the change could be instant, because they know the things that they're doing to hurt them. They know it, especially if you're in school. You know your ass ain't going to class. It's affecting your grades. You're getting put out of class. It's affecting your grades. They know these things are happening.
Yep.
So when you just let them know that that you paying attention to them, I used to see some, brother, I'll say this when I said, listen, it got to a point when I was at George Washington High School. Well, I ain't gonna say at George. I noticed it at George Washington, the last school I was at. These kids used to fight for my time. They used to wait. They didn't. Some of them used to. They didn't want to talk to me so much. They'll see me talking and they'll just come over. I mean, like, don't you see me? Well, I just had to say something to you. Okay, cool. Some would just wait. And then when I bring them in, well, I saw you was talking and I didn't want to interrupt because I need to talk to you. Okay, cool. And that little fight, because it got down to 4 or 5 minutes with a student, boom, they ready. They coming past my class. Hey, Mr. They speaking to me. Staff is noticing it. The principal used to say, hey, Mr. Listen, go work your magic on such and such. They got problems. Okay, cool. I'm over there. And I used to love to watch other people watch me talking. because I wasn't pointing the finger at the person who's already had the problem. I wasn't pointing the finger saying what you can't do. They was only reacting to a situation. I used to always try to get them to see what they did wrong based off what happened and how they can be better. And I tell them, no, when you graduate in 4 years, I'm going to be right here. You're going to have to deal with me every time you got a problem.
Right.
And after a couple of times, even some of the worst kids in the school, Brother Bennett, they would see me in the hall. They wanted to talk to me. They stopping by. They talk. And the craziest thing, some of your most talkative kids, your most, I guess, challenging kids, man, sometimes they was the smartest ones in the bunch.
Mm.
A's and B's. I'm like, you got to get them to work together. You can't be dumb and think you the shit.
Yeah.
But you can't be the shit and be dumb. You got to be the shit and be smart. You got to make smart decisions and do the right thing, because once it's in you, you can't go backwards. You only hurt yourself.
Very true.
And I used to just, feed them with that. And I just step back and watch them do the work. And it's always was a blessing to me to see people come in with a space of despair, a place of hurt and pain, and realize that they are worthy, and we all make mistakes, and they can be better. And to see it living out in real time, man, there's nothing better than that to me.
I heard that. Awesome. Well, I think we can start to, again, put the landing gear down, certainly on this on this episode. So again, first couple episodes, we spent a lot of time in terms of, again, you trying to understand yourself better, what triggers you, the things that motivate you and whatnot. This show, again, take us some steps in terms of, things that you can do, accountability in the process of things that you want to change in your life that's leading to harmful behaviors and outcomes, the things that you can do in the process. So again, we want to spend a little bit of time on this. But like we said, certainly, again, get around some people who can really do this for the real. But again, Coach is sharing what he's sharing. I'm sharing my perspective that I'm kind of in the middle of it, certainly to an extent. And so again, take what we're giving as, again, some first steps, but we're not the final steps by no means. And just so make sure you get humble yourself enough to get around the right people and resources that can really help you in this process. But Coach, as always, certainly I want to thank you for sharing the floor tonight. Thank you for providing, again, the materials that we use to drive these shows. And, so certainly we have 2 more. So again, next week, part 4, we're going to start dealing with some more subject matter, the idea of different traits that you may have. In particular, we're going to be dealing with the idea of, again, your values, your value sets. So that's going to be, again, another set of exercises that we're going to do in this. Then we have a part 5. So it's anger management. It's a 5-part series that we're doing. So definitely looking forward to that conversation next week. And certainly as we look to close down this series. But certainly I want to thank everybody who hopped on board and rode the whole show with us tonight. Appreciate you guys being here. As Coach, I know some of the folks that follow you, JD's 1975, I know was here. Miss Real Joy Online, Miss Joy is Real Online is here, and Nutmeg Nuts Gaming's here. So again, I'm glad some of your people certainly hopped on board tonight as well. Just make sure you guys hit the like button certainly before you leave the show tonight, and also stay tuned to the Sparta HQ Network. So Coach, you might want to get on this one on Saturday. We're gonna have some fun with this one. So on the Hangout. We're big movie fans, and so we're going to be looking at drill instructors from the movies. So we got my favorite. Won't give too much away, but you got Gunnery Sergeant Foley from An Officer and a Gentleman. We got Hartman from Full Metal Jacket, and then we got my guy Clint Eastwood's character from Heartbreak Ridge. So these are Marine instructors. So we're going to be talking about who our favorites are, and so we're going to be.
What about Major Payne?
No Major Payne. He was suggested, but we're gonna limit the combo. But I'll be on the show hosting with Anton, who's former military or whatnot. But you might want to tune in. You might want to tune into that one. Put your 2 cents in on those. But I know those 3. Obviously iconic.
A soldier story. What about that one?
Nah, that one that makes me mad.
That's a good one to have, though.
Not the best. No, that one I start throwing things if I see that guy again. That was like the word. That was when that movie came out. That did some things to me, for real. So I was like one of the worst human beings I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
but
he's in charge,
yeah. So again, people. So the ones that have more positive outcomes, I guess, is what we're looking at. So we'll be talking about that Saturday night. Also, a gray area on Sunday. We'll be dealing with, again, the rise and fall of corporations. You've had these multi-billion-dollar corporations, just short of a few years ago. And then things happen, and then now these places are out of business now. So, again, what happened, or their business is drastically reduced. So we're going to be exploring some of that on Sunday gray area. So stay tuned on the network. And, we try to give you a different flavor every show, a different theme, and so just be tuned in for that. But certainly for myself, Mr. Bennett, and the coach, again, we appreciate you for hanging out with us tonight. This is Next Gen Training here on the Sparta HQ Network, and so for the rest of you guys, certainly enjoy the rest of your week. Stay tuned for additional shows, but certainly for us, take care. God bless, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Sure.